Hello, I'm Mike Macedonio, an executive director with the B&I in the San Francisco Bay Area. Today, I'm joined with Pamela Jacobson. Pamela Jacobson is a co-founder of Soccer Girls Worldwide organization. Pamela, tell us a little bit about that organization, who you're serving, what is your mission?
Well, our mission is to empower girls to rise out of poverty through sports, education, and leadership opportunities. And at the heart of everything that we're doing, it's really about creating the right opportunities for every girl, regardless of her socioeconomic status or where she was born, to have what she needs to reach her greatest potential. And the way that we're doing that is by breaking down socioeconomic status barriers, so every girl has a seat at the table.
Oh, very nice, very nice. Can you give us some examples how you've helped some of these girls?
Yes, absolutely. So we originally started out with the idea of creating opportunities for girls to have access to the beautiful game that we all love, soccer, in areas of poverty where girls just simply weren't allowed to play because they were girls. It was just, if you know much about soccer, you know in many places outside of the US, it's very machismo, male machismo. And what was happening is girls were missing out on the life skills that their counterparts were receiving. So we set out on a mission to make sure that girls have access to the game and can be respected on and off the field. That eventually turned into something better and bigger. We realized in this mission that the bigger fight was poverty. And we all know that if you want to fight poverty, you have to keep girls in school. So our mission became more about keeping girls in school, taking the financial burden off of their families to ensure there were no reasons for these girls not to graduate from high school and potentially go into college. Because what we were finding is that when girls became the age of 14 and 15, where they could actually go out and bring income into the home, families were pulling them out of school to provide, right?
Uh-huh.
And if you're faced with challenges of poverty, if you have to put food on the table or keep your child in school, you're going to naturally put food on the table. So you're going to do what you have to do. So that is at the heart, one of our biggest fights is to make sure that these girls have a pathway for long-term education. And ultimately, our goal is for them to step into a career. Studies show that for every dollar that a woman makes, she gives 90 cents back to her children's health and education. Her counterpart, now this is a global statistic, only gives 35 cents. So for us, we look at it as if we really want to, hit poverty right at the heart and the root of it, it's really about the longevity of keeping these girls in school, getting a career so they can actually bring income back into their home to take care of their family, because children of educated parents are more likely to repeat that pattern and stay in school. And what
Yeah.
we do find in our communities, like when we're working in our rural communities, is that it's the cyclical cycle of generations of parents not going to school that feeds into the belief and the idea that education doesn't hold a value in the future of the entire community, in an essence, right? In addition to that, we also meet the girl where she's at. So when we're working in these areas of poverty, if a girl does not have proper shelter, she's not protected from the rain, if she doesn't have a proper bathroom, if her bathroom is a hole in the ground in a wooded shack, we really need to make sure that she feels safe and secure and has a foundation under her feet, literally and figuratively, so that she has stability in all areas of her life, so that the sports, education, and leadership opportunities do make a difference. So we build homes, we build bathrooms, we put food on the table, in addition to keeping these girls in school.
Yeah, the awareness to the poverty that exists on this planet
Yes.
is really unimaginable. And, for especially Americans, the way we perceive life is the way we see our neighbor or what we see
Mm-hmm.
on television or what we see on the internet. And it's like, no wonder you don't feel satisfied because you think that's what you're supposed to have, where 2.2 million people in the United States alone don't have indoor plumbing. 2 billion people worldwide
Yep.
don't have indoor plumbing. There's 8 billion people on the planet and 2 billion don't have indoor plumbing. And, situations like you're describing are real. They're going out there to work because they have to. And having the
Yeah.
opportunity of giving a hand up is amazing. So Pamela, you were involved in BNI for 9 years.
Yes.
And I know that journey as other careers. How did you end up in BNI as a photographer and then becoming a founder of this organization?
Well, it's interesting because, the nonprofit is a part of BNI because of my experience as a photographer. And as I was building my business and looking for opportunities, I Googled online. Actually, no, let me take that back. I was introduced, somebody on a podcast, I think, mentioned BNI just randomly. So I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to check it out. So I found our chapter here in Livermore, Referral Magic, reached out to the secretary at that time, and she invited me to come in. And from the first time I walked in, I felt community, right? Because that's, I think, where I thrive, relationships, community. And I found an opportunity to not just grow my business, but to really build the relationships that I needed to build my business. And from there, I stayed in it for about 4 or 5 years as a photographer. During that transition, I actually closed down my photography business to do what I'm doing now, which I truly at the heart of it believe is my calling, and to run the nonprofit full time. And so knowing what it did for my business, I knew that doing it as a nonprofit, being a member as a nonprofit, would be even greater and add more value, because what we find in our group is that obviously people are always looking for a purpose, right? People are always trying to find, give their work a purpose, their life a purpose. And I think by being in there as a nonprofit, it's not only helping us to do what we need to do to accomplish our goals by people supporting us in many different ways, but for us to actually provide them an opportunity back to give their work that purpose and to feel like they're a part of something bigger. Sometimes people like to invest financially for the people that are doing the hands and feet for the work that we're called to do. So it's a perfect union, I guess I could say, for a nonprofit.
And whether it's for-profit or nonprofit, same formula works.
Yep.
What you put out, you retrieve. The giver's gain philosophy inside of BNI will work for profit or nonprofit. And I know you've been a big contributor in that chapter, from everything from the referrals and business you brought, as well as your leadership roles. Tell us some of the ways that it's come back to you, some of the value you've gotten out of that.
Personally, the relationships are irreplaceable, right? Because I think that anybody that's been in a BNI group for numerous in that amount of years, you're walking away with lifelong relationships, right? But there's also so much that I've learned. I mean, it gives me a public speaking platform every single week to have the confidence that I need to go out and do more of what I need to do. It has given us the opportunity to have business partners within the nonprofit who I can actually share a little bit more about that too, more specifically how that's benefited. And I think it's just from leadership skills to public speaking skills to relationship building to the ongoing education that BNI offers. We're always walking out every single week with a nugget to take into our workplace and our personal lives. So it adds value personally and professionally.
And so in participating with BNI, and other BNI members are going to hear this message, tell us some of the ways that BNI or BNI members can support what you're doing.
Well, there's many different ways. I think a lot of times when you hear the nonprofit, the first thing that goes through your mind is I have to donate. So you either shut off because maybe you're not in a place to actually donate financially, or you don't realize that there's many other ways to get involved. So of course, we need revenue to keep doing what we're doing. So donating is always an added bonus. But one thing that I'm always sharing with our group is that time is the most valuable asset that you could actually give anybody in your life. And I think that holds true for any nonprofit. So volunteers are always extremely important when we do our bigger events. But in our group, one thing that's actually been very valuable is the business to business partnership. So what we like to do is, or the culture in our fundraising efforts is, we like to partner with people in the community. And the reason why we like to do that is because it expands our reach. And it goes back to just the nuts and bolts of networking. Who do you know who knows who we need to know? So even in these event environments, it's not about asking for donations, but it's about introduce us into your circle. Introduce us into the people you know and trust so they at least just know that we exist. Because I'm a big firm believer when people hear what we're doing, in which part of it I only shared just a piece of it. There's so much we're doing here, even locally in our own backyards, in the Bay Area, in areas of poverty too. And people want to get involved, especially when you're talking about youth and poverty and girls. You can't not want to get involved. So that's actually been something that's been very valuable, that we've been able to do throughout the year. And as a business owner, you feel good because you're giving your purpose in your work environment a bigger purpose beyond what you even thought it was created for. If that makes sense. Does that make
It
sense?
does.
Okay.
100%, 100%. I think about it from my involvement in nonprofits and being on the board. I also think it as, when you being a contributor, it's all win-win. It's all
Yeah.
win-win. And it's not only about money, so that's always helpful and it's always necessary, but it's volunteering, like you mentioned. Okay. It's offering your talents. The talents I like to offer to nonprofits is I'm good at marketing. Let me help you with that. And it comes back. For my wife and I, Dawn, we have a couple of foundations that we strongly support. And one of the things we would do is donate gourmet dinners that we prepare. There's a gourmet dinner for 6. It goes off for a raffle. The organization makes some money, and we can contribute time, talent, and treasure. And guess
Yep.
what we get back? An amazing experience. Okay. And that feeling that you get when you're giving, that feeling of being in abundance. And, for any business owner that's contributing in any way like that, when you're in that place, all you see is opportunity.
Yep.
Right? You're gonna that scarcity, you start seeing obstacles, but it's such a way of what goes around comes around. It just keeps coming back and coming back and coming back. And I've had this conversation with Ivan Meisner because he's also of the same cloth in terms of being generous and giving. And I said, of all the fundraisers we've ever done in our home, and all the people we've ever brought in, I've never had somebody that wasn't 100% delightful.
Oh, that's amazing.
Organizations like yours, bring in, the nicest people, the type of people that you want to be part of your network. And so I applaud you with everything you're doing, Pamela. I think this is outstanding, serving a need in this community as well as globally. Poverty is an issue, and it can't just be ignored. These people are in the situation that without help, okay, it will just keep perpetuating. Any last words you'd like to offer the B&I world about nonprofits and how they can help?
Well, the one thing that just came to my mind when you were saying that is you were talking about basically the intersection of all of us, right? And really what we're doing is building a bridge between communities that need each other, but don't realize that they need each other. Because it goes back to just what you're saying, creating an opportunity for you to actually live in abundance, right? And I think that we have all been called to help with our gifts and our talents, and we're all called to show up in a different way, right? So I love everything that you were just saying. I was trying not to beam literally because there's so much truth to it. But I want to also just say I really appreciate you and Dawn taking the extra step to support nonprofits in our region. I think that it's going to be adding so much value to all of the chapters that we're so close to and that we know and interact with on a monthly, weekly, daily basis. So I just want to say thank you. And even just the opportunity to be able to share it's again, it's a win-win for everybody.
We appreciate you, and I look forward to hearing more success stories about your journey. Thanks so much for being here.
No, thank you, and have a great day.
Thank you.